I lost my parents early, and my only memory of them was in photographs. I realized the power of the image because it was the only way to sort of bring back these people who were no longer alive. There was a kind of magic transmutation in that act. My feeling has always been that the magic of that little piece of paper with that image on it, it holds life. Penelope's Hungry Eyes. It's a series of portraits of well-known photographers. It seemed to me important to make images of these people who were always hiding on the other side of the camera, because I felt like they had really changed how all of us were perceiving the world. In my photograph of Ilse Bing, for example, where I've recreated her very famous self-portrait of 1931 in black and white, and 55 years later photographed her in, you know, vivid color, and now instead of being a 30-year-old woman, being an 80-some-year-old woman, Arnold Newman. I was asking myself, how do you photograph someone who has literally photographed everyone? I bought 2 copies of a book of his called 5 Decades, and with one of them I tore it up and put it on this bag, left a little place for a part of his face to come through, and I thought, Arnold's either going to throw me out of his house when I come with this contraption, or we're going to become buddies. Well, we became good friends till the end of his life. Here's Bill Wegman, who had been working all day with the Polaroid camera. And when he went to take a little rest, I said, please hold that, Bill, we'll make this picture. Your job when you make a portrait is to render that person in a way that defines them 10 years before you got there and will continue to define them at least for 10 years after you leave. The challenge of trying to do that is immense. And this is Abelardo Morel. Part of what made his image important to me is he was using a technique called camera obscura. If you have a room darkened with only a tiny aperture for light to enter, what comes in is the upside down image of the outside world. So the entire room becomes a camera. And this particular property of light is first described by Aristotle in 300 BC. So here is Abelardo Morel dreaming of Aristotle, dreaming of Manhattan. The portrait, as it's been used by photographers in a very short 2-century history, has completely radicalized how we have understood a portrait and what it can do and how it can tell us something about the person being portrayed. This is Alfred Eisenstadt, who was on the first team of Life photographers in the 30s. This is after he retired at Life in '88, but he still had an office there, and this was his little office with all his old prints and some of his famous pictures of Marilyn Monroe and Hedy Lamarr and Jack Kennedy. Louise Dahl Wolfe, in her closet, she was one of the really big fashion photographers in the 50s and 60s. And here she is, she's 93, and you know, I put her into the context of what fashion people do. They go in their closet and put on clothes. And so here she is with her Rolly, giving me a very quizzical look. Like, you gotta be joking. No, Louise. I see the book as a key to open up the world of master photographers. And if it does that to any degree at all, I will feel like all this work has been vindicated. Because that magic for me has never waned. And if anything, after 42 years, it keeps ascending. You know, I get higher and higher now making pictures than I ever have before.